And if anybody has any questions during it, just feel free to ask the questions about it. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen in a minute. What started me on this was I started dabbling a little bit with colored pencil, just a little bit, just for fun, just to learn a new medium a while back. And then I saw this guy. Then I saw this.
Beautiful.
This guy is certainly the king of colored pencil. His name is Jesse Lane. And his paintings, because I don't think you can call them anything but, are actually just totally phenomenal. Most of these paintings that you're going to see now are like 20 by 30 in size. They're not some little, 9 by 12 or 16 by 20 for the detail. I mean, these things are relatively large. This is one of his.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I mean,
Shoot me now.
I mean,
He's incredible.
are just absolutely phenomenal. The detail that he gets in everything is just absolutely amazing on this. I took a class with him. Let's see if it's on here. I don't think the one I took is on here, but I took a class with him, and it was online, and it was 2 days, and it was 6 hours a day.
Wow.
And what we got done in that time was the one that he brought up. There was a guy, just the face with the hand like this, and water coming down his face. We got to, in that amount of time, we got to do the eye, a little bit of the flesh around it, and a little piece of hair in 12 hours. And that was on a 9 by 12. So you can just picture what it, what it must be on ones that size. I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to share the screen again. And then I got talking to people, and also deciding, is it colored pencil drawing, or is colored pencil painting? So that led me into that. After I took Jesse Lane's course, I took another one from somebody else. Again, it was get the slideshow going here. Why is it scrolling down here? Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And this presentation started with, all of this started over a discussion with a couple of people over what category colored pencils would be categorized in one of our exhibits if we got some colored pencil. Drawings, paintings, whatever you want to call them, classified for the exhibition. Where would we put them, given that we did not get 5 or more? And I feel colored pencils have gotten a bad rap as an inferior medium because of the adult colored pencils. Colored pencil coloring books, everybody thinks of those, and those colored pencils are pretty, but they are a far cry from the professional colored pencils that are out there, such as Prismacolor, Derwent, and Caran d'Ache. There are also, interestingly, more publications for colored pencil than there is for pastel, which I thought was kind of weird. There are 2 types of colored pencils. There are wax-based and there are oil-based. The wax-based are the most common. Their core is a little softer than the oil-based and is easier to erase. Getting a very sharp point is a little more difficult than with the oil-based, as they are softer. Prismacolor is an example of the wax-based. It also, the wax-based comes in a lot more colors. Oil-based are harder than wax and can achieve a sharper point if that's what you're looking for. They're also a little harder to find. Polychromos are oil. The Caran d'Ache Luminescence, they are also oil-based, and their price you can see from the price between the Pablo and the per grande arch, between the Pablo and the luminescence, the difference in the Pablo being the wax. So now we get to the question, are colored pencils works of art considered to be a drawing or a painting? So with that, we have to address what is a painting versus a drawing. I looked around to get various definitions that are out there. One of the definitions is that painting is wet and on canvas, whereas drawing is dry and on paper. By that standard, then certainly oil and acrylic are paintings, and pastels and colored pencils fall into the realm of a drawing. Another definition, however, is that drawing focuses on lines and shapes, where painting focuses on color and form. By these definitions, colored pencil like pastel can be either. I don't think, looking at those from Jesse Lane, I don't think anybody could classify those as anything but a painting. I don't think you'd call them a drawing. Hello.
I'm in a class.
Again, this is the one here. The this guy with the hand, the head on his hand, that is the one that we did, and we just got barely the eyebrow and the eye and a little bit of the color there in 12 hours. So you can imagine the time it takes him to do this. A brief note on Jesse is that he did. He's apparently been doing this for quite a while. But about 5 years ago, he had a solo show in at a gallery, and he had every one of his artworks there, and the gallery burnt down.
Oh my God.
And took all his artwork.
Their stuff was
Oh
insured.
That
Aw.
wasn't enough, I think, for most of us to just give up and say, I'm done. But it re-energized him, and it taught him a new way to look at stuff. And that's what he did. And he's back with these beautiful, beautiful, huge paintings. And I did not see what he did before, but I'm sure at this point it's better than ever. He is a hyper-realist.
Yeah.
But as you may see, it doesn't have to be that way. So now we're going to have some fun. Now we're going to have some fun. I'll keep an eye on the timing here. Each of the next pages will have will have 3 artworks on it: an oil, a pastel, and a colored pencil, labeled as A, B, and C, not in any order. There's 5 pages of them that you're going to see, and each page has a different, the one that's coming up next is fruit. Then there's going to be portraits, and then we're going to have, I don't know if that's the order that they're in, but there'll be an animal and landscape and still life. So I'm going to leave each one up here for a couple of, give you some seconds. Now take a look at these. This is fruit. Which one of these do you think is the oil? Which one of these do you think is the pastel? And which one of them do you think is the
These pencil.
I can't see number C.
down? And
That's tough.
yeah, I know.
I think I know.
Write it down, and at the end we'll go through it and see what it did. I did this with my grandson, my 23-year-old grandson, and he was looking over my shoulder, and he's saying, "Okay, this, and this, this, that." And I think out of the 5 pages, I think he got 3 right. So if everybody's ready, I will go on to the next slide.
The
This is obviously landscape. Again, one of these is colored pencil, one of these is oil, and one of these is pastel. Seconds, you write down which one you think is which.
pencil. Pencil. The
It's very difficult to tell. Okay.
the
Oh my God.
Everybody ready? I'll move on. The next one is
yes.
portraiture.
Oh, that's Sangeeta and A.
Very similar, yes. Yes. another one that's in similar to the way Sangita does things. One is, again, one is pastel, one is colored pencil, one is oil. Which do you think is which?
Always be.
I'm sure if I had told this ahead of time, everybody would have thought this was easy.
B is pencil.
And it is so not.
A oil.
They're,
A
beautiful. They're all beautiful. They're all just gorgeous. I'll go to This Is Still Life. Again, very in the Sangita format that you see
Oh my
in the
God.
background.
or
Again,
This is hard. This is hard.
yes, one is pastel, one is oil, and one is colored pencil. I had fun doing it.
Oh,
This was fun.
This pencil.
And it's amazing. I get a colored pencil magazine, and some of them in there are just absolutely, the talent is incredible. As you can see from this, we have one to go.
Okay, that's number 4. Now number 5.
Here's the last one, and this is obviously, I of course would pick tigers, being one of my favorite subjects is tigers. One of these is oil, one is colored pencil, one is pastel,
B is pencil.
and they're all just gorgeous.
Oh,
All just beautiful.
B, C is.
If I get them, probably get them all wrong.
oh my God, it's incredible.
Oh. Finn, get over here. Tell us.
And again, I don't think anybody would call any one of these that you're seeing here drawings in the context that most of us think of as drawings. In the context of what it's on, colored pencil, by the way, uses most of the same mediums and a lot of the same techniques as pastel. I'm going to do a little brief demo here, and that's on Canson My Tenties, which is a pastel paper. Some colored pencil artists use pastel matte. They use a lot of they might use something even smoother. A lot of the same techniques too. You can use alcohol to move it around on the paper. You can, to blend it and make a more painterly look with it and everything.
Use alcohol, you said so for that?
Pardon?
Use alcohol to make it smoother? Is that what you said?
Yes, just like you would
Okay.
pastel. You can use it for pastel and you can use it for
I don't know what I'm doing.
pencil too.
Yeah.
And these in here, I did not choose the water soluble colored pencil. This is all the wax or the oil. So that's what the alcohol would be good with. Okay, everybody ready for the reveal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On the fruit. A,
Okay.
I'll go, I should have, hang on. I got something and I didn't write it down so that you could go back.
Pencil, I got right, that one right.
Wait, I got-
Let's see here.
Oil's wrong.
How are you doing? A is oil.
I got one right, but not the one.
Pencil, C is pastel.
D.
Fruit, the landscape.
Right on B, but I was wrong on oil and pastel.
No.
Landscape, A is colored pencil. B is oil. And C is pastel.
Tiger A
You
is
want, we can go.
A
A is
pencil.
pencil.
D is, I got that one
I
right.
got them backwards.
B is, C is pastel. I got that.
How did everybody do?
I got one right
I
so far.
got 2 right.
8 right. A
Everybody,
is pastel. B is
Number 3. No, I didn't get that
we can
right.
go back through them
Wrong.
so you can see them. Are you
Bill.
surprised what you came up with?
We got six right.
B is
I
pastel.
got them all right with the exception of on 4, I mixed up the pastel and the paint,
I got that one right.
pastel and the pencil, I should say.
A lot of people.
That one.
Oh,
But
What's the
people,
prize? What does Lady get?
I got 2 Wrong.
What? Two wrong?
Yeah.
That's
Out
really-
of,
I got
Hmm.
two.
three,
Roll
out of 18? Wow, you're
One,
I
Hmm.
guess I got that right.
got
good.
3 wrong, 2 right.
you have to admit that it's difficult.
Yes, I
Yeah, it
admit
is.
it.
You really can't, you know,
It's easier to find. I found a pencil.
really can't tell the difference.
I
I
got
didn't
two
find
right.
anything else.
Yeah, I didn't.
I'm regretting the fact that I bought some colored pencils. I never used them. I had them for about 5 years. And then the kid next door to me, who was about 6 years old, he liked art and his family was undergoing a very traumatic situation. So I gave him my pencils. Maybe I'll buy some again.
Well, hopefully you changed his life with it.
Right.
I got all the pencils right though.
Good. I'm going to, if everybody's ready, I'll stop sharing this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me come back to here. Any questions about what we've done so far?
Open.
I'm going to attempt to switch cameras. Yeah, Jill.
With it, the artist that you took, his paintings, Jesse, what kind of paper was that on? Was that on tonal paper? Was it, what paper did he use for that?
Well, for the class, and he said it's his favorite, is you're going to see it here tonight too. It is a gray Canson, if I'm pronouncing it right, my tenties. But he uses the other side. He doesn't use the side that pastelists might.
Bumps. Yeah, the other side. Smooth side.
Over to the
Smooth side. Okay, yeah.
But most
Okay.
of them are done with that, and he uses Prismacolor.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah, he uses Prismacolor. He uses some of the others too in there, but he likes the Prismacolor and everything.
That's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah,
You
Thank-
mentioned before about the oil and the wax. Can you combine the two in the same picture?
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can definitely cross-use them in the same picture. You might even want to. One being a little harder than the other, or softer. The softer one, you might use more for the background, and then if you wanted to get into extra, close details like that, you might want to use the other one.
Can you overlay
Oh, yeah,
colors?
that's what you're gonna
Mix
see
them?
tonight.
Yeah, good.
That's what you're gonna see is blending and overlay. The big thing with it is doing that, even though there's a lot of colors, different colors. His course and the other one that I took, which was a seashell kind of scene with rocks and sand, and I'll spare you what it took to do the sand, which is you just sit there going tick, 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 with the point of them kind of thing. But by the time you get done doing it enough times with enough colors, you got sand. It looked like sand, but again, that was like you're talking about, going over and over and blending and coming back over with another color. A lot of it is also touch, in that you do a lot of stuff with a light touch, and then you start to increase, which is what I'll do tonight here. Increase the touch on it. Jesse does it. You may have heard about there goes the mind, gone. Blending, where you take a blender and you
Under.
go back and forth over to smooth it down. Jesse doesn't do that with his, he said, most of the time, because he has so many layers on that it starts to do that in and of itself. That state where you have filled every possible piece of the paper, every little nook and cranny on it. And I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. It's just gone. If one of you remembers it, please let me know. Because I know it, and I'm okay.
So
Yes. Okay, let me try to switch the camera. This is a whole new thing for me, so hopefully this will work. I have no idea what's going to happen. So hang on. Here we go. Okay.
You got it.
Got it. Hallelujah. Let me let's spotlight that. There we go. Okay. Believe it or not, that's actually gray. That's
Gray.
not, it does not have as much blue in it as is coming through there. It's a very neutral gray kind of thing. So I just outlined the box because when you do something like this, you have a tendency to get bigger and smaller when you're doing what you're going to see me do. You tend to not make things the right size that you need it to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at one side here, and I'm going to start with a lighter pencil, a lighter colored pencil, and then we're going to blend it with a darker pencil. So we're going to start at each end with it. With a colored pencil, you don't hold it like you're going to, write like that. You hold it, if I can show you, like that in your hand. And so that what you're doing is you've got it kind of sort of on its side. I'm going to start with there's basically like five different pressures that they talk about. One is where there's just nothing. You're just whispering across the page barely. And then you gradually increase it to where 5 is where you're burnishing. Thank you, Sue.
Burnishing up.
I talked long enough and it come out.
Yep.
So what you're doing then at that point is burnishing. So I'm going to start this off as nearly as I can at about a 3. And I'm going to take this, and you can see I'm going across the paper. Make this a little bit heavier because I got a distance to go. Now you can see why I did the lines to go through, because doing this, I don't know about you, but when I start doing it, it starts getting very where it's not so over to the edges. Now hopefully you can see I'm starting to get lighter, and that's just lighter by the pressure until I'm going to take it to, now that doesn't look like much, I know, that's like blah. And I'm taking it out to like there's almost nothing there. Okay, you can see there's like very, very little there. Just to fill in that.
And God bless you.
Bless you, whomever that was. Okay, so now we're going to take the darker one, and we're going to do the same thing from this end. So we're going to start with it at about a 3 pressure.
Wait, I'm drawing.
Pardon?
Nothing, no, nothing. The cat was in the way.
Maybe he wants to learn.
No.
So now we're going to,
There's another cat.
I don't think mine is down here right now. We get this a little heavier in here. You can see even with the lines, I tend to not go across them. I tend to not go up to them right away. So I'm gonna, the one that I took, the course that I took on the seashell one, this is some of the first things that we did, like the first like 2 hours were learning how to do this, and I'm certainly no expert at it, that's for sure. I'm going to start to get lighter on here, which the pressure is lighter. The one thing about doing it this way is you end up, you don't have to sharpen your pencils as often, because having it on its side, that's not even, shame on me. Having it on its side kind of sort of auto sharpens it for you. So now I'm down into here where there's almost nothing. You really kind of sort of can't see that. So we're going to do it again. Oops, wrong one. Almost grabbed a pen. So now we're going to start from this end. Again, and this time we're going to have a little bit heavier pressure. You can see it's a little bit darker this time, a little bit stronger. And we're going to just keep. I wanted to make it big enough so that you'd be able to see it. So I'm going to start to lighten off on it again. Do I plan to make this my main medium? No, but it's great. It's portable. It's clean. Vince calls most of us, because he being the photographer, Vince calls most of us dirty artists, filthy artists, you know, because of between pastel and all of that, we get dirty.
Yeah.
As opposed to that. So this kind of is a little less dirty than some of them. And it's portable, you can take it with you. Great for if you're doing sketches, you know, doing plein air painting, if you will. I have trouble coloring between the lines, don't I? Okay.
Didn't Sister Filipina tell you?
Yes.
So I'm repeating it, but heavier. We're starting on this side to get closer to the
It's a good question. Can you erase?
wax based. You can erase better than the oil based.
Yeah.
And there are actually some colored pencils out there that called color erase that you can actually really erase them. I think it's probably about as erasable as
Pastel. Really?
it depends, you know. I haven't tried to. Once you get into the heavier color, I shouldn't imagine it's going to be terribly, you know, easy to
And you scrape it off.
Oh yeah. Oh, they use like pastels, you use a razor blade and all that other happy stuff. Now we're going to start to get where we're getting closer to the state of burnishing here. You can see that's starting to fill in more and more of the surface there. And this is the smooth surface, but I haven't tried it on pastel mat yet, but they do it on pastel mat too, which is like,
It's fun.
I would, pardon?
It's fun to do it, but it wears down your pencils.
I would
Lot.
think very quickly, yeah. That's what I thought. I haven't tried to do that yet, but that's on my agenda if I ever get a chance to paint again. And pardon the background of my house. My grandson has been renovating portions of the house for me, but in doing the renovations, of course, they're I forgot to bring a blender. So you can see this is a totally different look in here where you're layering the colors. And again, I'm new at it, so don't take it as being that this is as good as it gets, because I'm gonna get this.
I imagine it would be a good medium to mix with other mediums like watercolor, and I wonder.
They do, yep.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. From some of the stuff I've seen and looked at and read about, a lot of they combine it with pastel. Like with pastel, they can do an under painting with watercolor,
Yeah.
and then come back with this for the details. Like I said, you can use it also for using alcohol.
I don't have the patience.
It takes, can you imagine what it takes for him? Oh my God.
I'd like to see the nubs on his fingers.
Yeah. And as you can see, I'm lightening the pressure as I go so that it just shows through a different colors on it. I'm not going to keep boring you with that. I forgot to bring a burnisher up. So I'm just going to use the yellow as a burnisher to show you what you end up with if you burnish it. The colored pencil course that I took for the seaside scene, he burnished it. When he was done with a section, he would burnish it. Like I said, by the time Jesse Lane gets done, he's got many more layers than this. Given that how long this took me, which wasn't all that long, but it was about probably almost 10 minutes. So just picture what it is for his. It's just like amazing. So I'm gonna.
Can you use a spatula spoon to burnish?
I guess you can. There's burnishers
There are, yeah.
that are clear pencils. Matter of fact, I should probably go get one.
They're clear pencils?
It's a plastic
Wax.
piece of plastic.
Gotcha.
And your purpose is to
Make it work.
just what I'm doing now, which is just pounding it into the paper. And like I said, I'm not an expert at this. You'll see others out there doing a much better job than I am. But I just
Fine.
wanted to introduce everybody to it because it's been maligned. I mean, the colored pencil books probably did a lot of good for a lot of people. But it also, I think, threw a not so nice cast upon what you can do with colored pencils. So I thought and I was inspired because we had a new member and I saw when they signed up, their medium they put down was colored pencil. And I was like, wow.
That's me.
Was it you?
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
But you must be a
Good.
lot better at this than I'm doing.
You're doing fine.
So burnishing is just you just really, and again, this doesn't, it's supposed to be done with something that does not impart color that I'm doing. And this is on the back side of it. So you can see though that you do it. And I didn't do as
And you deliberately go in the other direction?
Yeah, you can too. You can do that all throughout it. You can do that and then go through it on another direction, like you said,
Mm.
to contribute to the burnished look. But all the little, what it basically does is all the little lines that you see from the paper, if you do it right, and I'm purposely not doing the whole thing. I use this down here so that you can see even more on the yellow. What happens to it is that all this in here disappears. All the little bits of gray that you see through there totally disappear. But usually, a lot of times it's got a lot more layers on there than that. I mean, I did what, like 3 back and forth. I can assure you, we did a lot more, especially with Jesse. It was just amazing to watch him. His courses run for 2 days, like I think it's $275. But if you're interested enough in learning colored pencil, it's worth every dime because you work and he works the whole time. There's not a lot of time spent, chatting unless you're working. So you can see that's, what it would have probably worked better with with one of the clear ones, but it is a very clean medium and you can get it to where it's, totally, that's the idea to the burnishing, is totally filling it. But usually this should be in here, what you're working on should be a little more than that. Feel free to comment on what I've done wrong. Jill, right?
Yes. No, you did fine. You did great.
And any hints and tips that you can impart to me as well as everybody else. I had started doing colored pencil of a dog that we had
Uh-huh.
that my husband loved, and I had started doing that picture a while ago. I will probably finish that one. Because sometimes you get to a point where you go, okay, where do I go now? So I've
Yeah.
learned more so that I can do that, finish that dog that we had.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
She was a, by the time I took the picture, she had red hair, but she was so white. She had so much gray in it.
Oh, yeah.
But I got it to a point and I was like, okay, I got to figure out I got to learn more before I finish, what to do here with it. So I will probably maybe take that out in the summertime out on the deck and do some.
Oh,
Any questions? Let me switch back so we can all see each other. Where'd we go here? Let me.
You ever use circular motion and coloring in, or just back and forth, up and down?
Yeah, you can do it, depending upon what it is you're working on. I did it just here for demonstration, but a lot of times it's little circles.
Yeah.
It's,
Do you drew any drawing techniques like cross hatching and that kind of stuff or not?
pardon?
Like cross hatching and stuff
Oh,
like that?
Absolutely. You can
Yeah.
cross hatch, you can do, they do cross hatching, they do, dots, circles, depends. It seems to me from what I've seen, it kind of sort of depends upon what it is you're working on. Like the rocks that we did and the seashells on that one was much more of a circular stroke. We did, the ocean, the surf, the foam, and it seemed that was much more circular than this. This was just, like demonstration. I think a lot of times it's more circular, right, Jill?
yes, it is.
Yeah,
It depends where you're going with it. Yeah.
right.
Do they make bigger pencils like the pastels, or some of them you see they're giant pastels, or can you get them, or
A pencil, Karen. a
pencil?
a
What did I
pencil.
say?
Pastel.
Oh,
There are
bigger pencils, thicker? No, they don't. So all the same size.
yeah, pretty much so.
Yeah.
From what I've
Are they
seen,
easy to sharpen? I mean, without breaking?
much easier than pastel pencils. Much more.
Yeah, pastels are horrible.
Horrible. Yes, very.
Yeah, you have to be very careful doing pastel
It's
pencils.
a sphinx.
Leave my cat alone.
Ooh,
The sphinx.
And this is a naked female, if you
Yes,
want to have them
naked
on.
female cat.
Oh my goodness.
land.
Mine is from-
Jill, may I ask Jill, do you have anything, Jill, you could show us that you've done?
Oh, you sure? Okay.
I'd love to see it, yeah.
I just finished the dog. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, nice.
Very nice.
Great.
Mhm.
Can you see it? Oh,
Very
I love
good.
it.
cute,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Very nice.
very cute.
Oh, no.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
Animals. A lot of
show you this.
Yeah,
This has been very good for me for if I want to sharpen my pastels pencil. This really has
It
helped.
works on pastels?
yes.
Pastel pencils, yes.
And what's the name of it?
Swordfish.
Swordfish?
Yeah, those work,
It really has made it much easier to sharpen without breakage.
No, I'm always trying to
yeah, and make,
then they get stuck in the pencil
Yeah.
sharpener, and I gotta get a needle out to try to get them out.
but that kind that she has there makes it much easier to get the point out of the center. If it should break, yeah, that's a pain in the neck when it does that.
The Caran d'Ache, the Caran d'Ache or whatever, the luminescent are those are wider and those are hard to get into a lot of the different, even electric and stuff you have to go around with. Yeah. Mhm.
I have, then I call my husband and he takes it out to our grinder in the garage and he sharpens it to a point. But ever since I got this for Cod, he doesn't have to do it too much. I only have a few Caran d'Ache.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do this.
they're nice. Do you prefer, Jill, the Pablo or the luminescence of Caran d'Ache?
Different things. The Pablo is I started with the luminescent just like you said, is oil-based. So you really can't layer that over the wax. So that to me is usually my finishing touch is I use a luminescent or I'll just use luminescent. Mhm. Yeah.
I'm trying to get up the courage to buy a set of luminescents or even the Pablos there. Yeah, they don't include those, believe me, in the adult colored pencil kit. That's for sure.
I have a question. When you were taking that class with Jesse and he just did the eye, did he in effect recall, like draw out? I just don't know if you just do an eye, how then when you're going to go right next to it and do a further continuation of the cheek, how you can sort of match it? Wouldn't it be easier to do like the entire face or something? And
He kind of did draw it out. You know, he did. You start with a line drawing,
Mhm.
go from there with it. But because you're blending them, you stop with it here. But there's when you pick it up, you're just if the color is just, and correct me, Jill, if I'm wrong. If the color is a little off from there, you know which pencil you started with for that. Then you just take another pencil lightly and start blending it to shift the color of it. That's pretty much what he did, as I recall. Yeah, because you can't do one of those in one sitting for sure. And it like I said, it starts off with a line drawing. He had a line drawing and where the major color shifts were on the face, you know, because they're very dramatic, especially for him. He's got several courses, online courses going right now, and one of them is how he gets that stark black background that he gets, and darker skin. I think he's got one on darker skin and one on hair. The one on hair is the one that he's doing as an addition, is that black, a very dense black background that he gets. Because again, you know, like on a 9x12, you don't, your images are so much smaller than the one that we did was a 9x12. Now blow that thing up to a 20x30, and you're going to see those details have to be really, really fine tuned. Whereas you can get away with, you know, not seeing, you know, like the skin color, like I did there with the blending of the color. You're gonna really have to do it when that thing is 3 times that eye is 3 times the size of what you just did. You know, it's like, wow.
when you're framing this thing, is it under glass or your final picture?
I believe so, right, Joe?
Yeah, I usually do it under glass. And I also like to have a matte. Sometimes I do a matte because it brings, you know, just like with pastel, I don't spray them. So that's, yeah.
Yeah, basically you treat it the same as pastel, although some pastel artists might not be fond of hearing that. But basically it's treated in many, many ways. Exactly. It uses the same paper for the most part, uses, you know, you can do all kinds of stuff with it, just like you do with pastel, with the alcohol and underpaintings of watercolor. And it's you can use a watercolor pencil to get your underpainting, or just watercolor, and you can then do finer details with some of the other stuff too, I'm sure.
I'm gonna try. I think it'll be a fun medium. I'm gonna try it. You know, I've never done it, so. But
I think it'd be fun to do on plein air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have such a huge setup of paints and all this stuff. You can, you know, and you can see with the landscape on there, they come out beautiful.
Yeah.
You can get them just as fine tuned as anything else. Anybody have any more questions or comments or? Yeah, Helen.
Yeah, the comment is you did a great job.
Thank you. Helen.
I just had a comment, could you quickly run through those 5 slides with the quiz?
Sure.
So that we can actually see which one was the pencil in each of them, because,
That's a great idea.
but, you know. well,
Sure,
obviously,
absolutely. I'd be happy to.
time.
Oh, where are we here? Just give me a minute to bring the PowerPoint back up. I closed it down.
We're gonna ask you though. Ellen, to tell us.
I can only tell you the wrong answers. The process of elimination, like, you might be able to hit it 5
Yes.
times. But
You're
not,
smart.
I
You do
know,
it.
I know the pastel of Sangeeta's, that was
Is there,
kind of.
is there a particular one, or you want to go through all 5? Here's the,
Real quick, just the 5, yeah. Which one was the pencil in
share the, screen.
each one of them?
Share the screen. There. There we go, share.
Sure.
I'm gonna click that share button over there. Here's the fruit.
B.
Oil.
Which one's the pencil?
B.
B.
B, okay.
Yeah,
good.
that I know.
Pastel is
That one I got, all right. And the next one?
Next one is come up here, is the landscape.
A.
A,
B.
B.
He is
That's
pencil.
what's up.
Oh, that means
B.
I got 2 right.
Oh, me too.
was
B is the
A.
pencil, all
B is
right.
pencil. Okay.
It's right on the.
not the pencil was
It's
pastel, oil.
I
Pencil.
think
from the
it was C.
colored
Hey.
pencil magazines that I get. Of portraiture is very big.
Which one is it?
D.
C.
C.
Oh, really? Okay.
D, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, and the next one?
Next one is the still life.
A. I think A.
A is the pencil?
Yeah, I think A.
You see sharp lines on it. That's the only way you can tell.
That seems to be the
What's the most
giveaway, yeah.
Sangeeta's?
Gosh.
And you see the roundness of the cherries. It's so sharp. Their roundness.
Yeah.
And then the tiger.
Nice.
A is colored pencil.
A
Yeah.
is pencil?
A is colored pencil, B is oil,
Oil.
and C
Yeah,
is
pastel.
I think that that's
Pastel.
nobody that I
I got
found.
that back room. I got that
That
wrong.
was that was the 3rd one I got right. So I got 3 right.
It's not as easy as one would think to distinguish them because they're all so good. And admittedly, I picked good ones, but just to show
Thank
you
you.
what it can do. And of course, it can be much more painterly than I will stop sharing this for now. It can be much more painterly too. I just picked ones, tried to match, something in each of the mediums so that it would relate and be difficult. I thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Stop, let me stop recording at this